The 90s, what a beautiful time. What a beautiful time. Some idiot left a comment in my comment section talking about, I stopped listening to music years ago and I refuse to believe that the 90s was good. The 90s music wasn't good because it led us to destruction. What are you talking about, you idiot? It led us, what's amazing to me? It led you to destruction. If music influences you to do criminality, maybe you're an idiot. You're weak minded. You're unmanly. You're unwomanly. I'm sorry. When I was a kid, you had the Grave Diggers, you had DMX, you had whatever. I never once listened to a rap song and said, let me commit a crime. I never once watched a music video and said, I want to dress like these people. No, I'm not a follower. You're weak-minded. If you're someone who's like, well, music led us. Who the hell is us? First of all, that followers speaking like a follower. We, us, man. Don't include me in that. No, you idiots were led to a path of destruction because you can't think for yourselves, and you weren't raised right. But this is the morons you have in this world. It didn't lead me to no destruction. I'm not a follower. When I was a child, I never worshipped a rapper. I never worshipped a celebrity. Oh, because DMX is talking like this, let me go do this in real life. You're an idiot. And most people were not influenced to do some stupid because a rapper said it. If you were, the problem is you. You test tube baby. Now, speaking of the 90s, a beautiful period, a glorious period. Back then in the 90s, for the majority of it, just speaking simply on that decade, music was heavily, consumed through the use of cassette tapes. A side, B side, the Raekwon purple tape, cassette tapes. And then when you get to around the late 90s, cassettes are kind of phased out and now CDs and things like that. And that's why you started having double albums in 96, 97, because they realized how much we could put on a CD. And, technically we can get, double out the label because it's a double album, all that type of thing. But CDs were always a beautiful experience. 90s, 2000s, I remember in the 2000s, an album was going to come out. Back then music was so much better. The rollouts were so much better. The build up, the hype was so much better. An artist, there's rumors this artist you like has a new album, and then they drop the first single on the radio, then they drop a video, and then maybe 2-3 months later they drop the second video and then the album. And the album came out on maybe a Tuesday. So if you're going to school, or work, whatever, it's like, okay, I got to work at school at this time, I'm gonna go here, go here, go here. Let me go to FYE or Circuit City, or let me go here because they have it but the other place don't have it. It was a beautiful experience. You anticipated that Tuesday. The artists you like might, they might Monday before the album dropped, they might have been on 106 in Park or TRL or Rap City promoting it, and you couldn't wait for it to come out. And you finally go to FYE or Tower Records or Circuit City or wherever you got your albums, your CDs. You get this CD. When I was a kid, I'm a kid, so I get on the bus ride home. I don't even want to open it. Just keep the plastic on. You get home, you open it, you read through the booklet, you see the credits. I used to try and if I had an album, I tried to avoid, like, when you had a booklet, they used to have pages where they had like the lyrics. I tried to avoid looking at them. Like, I don't want to be spoiled by reading the lyrics. I want to hear the album. But I looked at the booklet, you look at the back of the case. It was a whole experience. You don't have that any longer, for the most part. Now, you do have artists who still sell physical copies, but the streaming era was a way to rob artists. And then people did just that. They conditioned the audience to think music should be free. You don't have to pay for music. Everything else on earth you got to pay for. You want some new Jordans, you have to pay for it. You can't get them for free. You want to watch a new movie, you got to go to the theater. Now, if you have a illegal movie site, it's different, but you get the point. A pay-per-view, well, illegal link, but you get the point. Everything else on earth you have to pay for, but somehow music should be free, or $10.99, you can get every song ever made. That's BS. But now streaming sites, which have always been a pyramid scheme, they've crashed. They don't work anymore. They've maximized draining that swamp. So now CDs are making a surge back slowly to bigger artists now. That you've always had, for example, Griselda. Griselda always was selling vinyl and CDs and things like that. But now, as of recent, J. Cole, he actually recorded himself selling CDs of his latest studio effort, The Fall Off. And he sold 6 figures worth of CDs, reportedly. And there's a lot of people who they're tired of streaming and they don't mind paying. I remember when Nipsey Hussle had the, Proud to Pay, whatever the case. And even back then, he was selling physical copies of things. He sold one of his CDs for $100, which is insanity. But, it worked for the experiment that he was trying to do and a point he was trying to prove. But when J. Cole, an artist as mainstream as J. Cole is, and it worked, that sends a message to them people, because those vultures, one way or another, they want to rob you, use you, benefit off of you. Notice, I didn't say help you. I didn't say help you profit. No, they want to use you. So CDs, there's already a surge of people are getting back into collecting them. It was vinyl for a long time, but now CDs and CD players. And I think this is a great thing because it brings back a classic experience. Music is supposed to be an experience, a build-up, a hype, an anticipation. It's not supposed to be, it's free, just click a button, and this artist I like, they dropped their album last night at midnight, and I didn't even know it, but I woke up to it. Like, no. I like the old way of music. It always worked. But these greedy people were just that. And they thought, well, we're going to change music forever. And no, all you did was rob artists forever. And the worst way artists were ever robbed was streaming. 0.004 cents per play. It's incredible. If you're an independent artist, how could you possibly eat off of streaming? 1 million plays on Spotify gets you $15,000. If you're an independent artist who has 20,000 fans, you're not going to get 1 million plays. And even if you do, 1 million plays is only 15,000 before taxes. And what if you have a manager? I mean, it's ridiculous. But I like this. This is going to become a bigger trend if you haven't seen it before. CDs are making a strong comeback. J. Cole, for the fact that J. Cole, in the mainstream sense, is leading this, and they saw the numbers he did, don't be surprised if you start seeing, Jay-Z new album, physical copies are being pushed. They're going to start pushing the idea of CDs at this store, CDs, or it might not be physical stores as far as, Circuit City and FYE, these stores don't exist, or whatever stores available, but it might be a thing of order online. So the next big movement might be ordering CDs online, which I like that. It's how music should be consumed. It's like opening up a gift. You rip the plastic off, open the case, you look at it, the book, the CD. You're missing an experience in music. So hopefully this trend it gets back to the old days of how things were actually good. But also, nothing ever switches. Them people, they don't change, they switch. Nothing really changes, it switches rather. They robbed you on cassette tapes, they robbed artists on vinyl, they robbed you on streaming. Now they're going to rob you on CDs again. Back then, artists were getting 7 cents per CD. You get 7 cents, 3 cents. It went from you might get 3 cents off one CD you sold to now you get 0.004. Oh my God. Imagine thinking the music business is not, let me not even go there. What are your thoughts on this? What are your memories of getting CDs? Do you want this back? Or are you someone who you're lazy, so you like the idea of streaming, which means you like free music, which means you like to rob an artist? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'm up out of here. XDN wins, and that is it. Follow me on Instagram at XDN Online. Follow my music channel. I might have to get on to this. I got some old albums I might need to re-release on CD. My music channel is at XDN Music underscore no at XDN underscore music on YouTube. It's in the description. Also, follow my sports channel and follow my gaming channel. You know, I started moving towards Rumble. Rumble is like a dead site. Like Rumble, I don't know. I don't know that Rumble. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But apparently you can't. I don't know. Rumble just, it's like they exist, but they don't exist. Kind of like cassette tapes now. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this? I've never used a streaming site either. I was always against it. When I first started hearing they're going to do streaming, I immediately knew this is a Ponzi pyramid scheme that cannot possibly work. And it didn't work. I've never used Spotify. None of them. Apple, none of them. I've never signed up. I never used them. I refuse. I always refused. I kept my CDs from back in the day. And any other music I had was on an old iPod or old Android phone. So why would I need to sign up for streaming? I got all my favorite music years ago when they came out. Man, I miss LimeWire. Speaking of stealing from artists, whatever happened to LimeWire? But anyway, I'm about here, and that is it.